Well, I tried to record the last podcast on my expensive podcasting equipment, and when I posted it, it didn't work, or at least it didn't work on iTunes. So I'm not sure what the answer to this is, or why that's suddenly not working. We'll see if this one posts. This podcasting just seems to be going from bad to worse. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe this is a mistake. Well, I'm gonna push on through, people. I'm going to push on through. Maybe God is listening. Comedy. My name is Joshua Snyder. I did not lose my virginity until I was 32. I don't think that should be the defining trait of me, but by the same token, nothing else defines me better. So that's where we're at. I am recording this while going on my nightly constitutional, and it is very hot out in Burbank right now in California. We're in, I think the term they have is a heat dome, which is a fun, fancy way of saying that it's very hot out, and hot and a bit muggy. But I am doing my walking anyway in an attempt to lower my cholesterol so that I can live long enough to be burned alive when the climate really sets us all on fire. I don't want to miss the end. I want to live long enough to see it all be destroyed. That's what I want to do. So that's what we're doing. I've been eating fairly healthy. I got rid of all the sugar. I got rid of that. All the red meat, got rid of all that. I think the worst things I do is I have teriyaki sauce, and I will put that on the fish that I make. I was eating some lo mein noodles, but even that, I don't think I can. I think I'm pulling back on that. So it's a lot of fruits and vegetables and whole grain bread. And hey, I've become addicted to mangoes. I think I talked about this. Well, I might have talked about this in the podcast that didn't work, but I started buying mangoes at the store, and the first experience was not a good one. It was not a ripe mango, and I got very discouraged. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to give up. So I went back, and I'm learning how to pick out the better ones, and they've been delicious, utterly delicious. It's been a pleasure eating mangoes. Apparently, I think one of the only places in the United States where they are grown is in California, so I'm in the right place. Maybe that's why I wanted to come to California. Maybe that's the real reason, is I was lured by the mangoes. I was pulled by the mangoes. So I'm looking up, by the way, at the night sky. I think this is east, I want to say. Is that Mars that I'm looking at? It's probably Mars, right? I never know. I think I downloaded an astronomy app on my phone where I can hold up the phone and it'll tell me. And I don't feel like doing it right now. The nerd in me wants to know, but the geek in me doesn't care. The geek in me just, let's write a story about this star. But the nerd is like, that's not it's a planet. If it was a star, it'd be twinkling. The great war between the nerd and geek brain. The geek brain says, oh, Star Wars is entertaining. And the nerd brain says, you can't use one laser to bat away another laser, right? But what can you do? I can only continue attempting to live my life. I don't know about you, but as we enter this living with the pandemic phase, I don't want to say post-pandemic, but as we enter this new era, because it does feel like a new era, I feel like I don't know what's coming next. It feels very uncertain. But here's the thing, isn't it fascinating that the uncertainty was always there? It just takes something like a pandemic to make us realize how the uncertainty is always there, and when we think there's no uncertainty, that's the illusion. Regularity, normality, predictability, that's the illusion. Uncertainty, that's the constant. I'm not telling you anything you already don't know. Oh, this is oppressive. Can I tell you something? I should be wearing shorts. I should be wearing shorts, but I just can't bring myself to let people see my legs. In fact, I think I should be rewarded for protecting you from the vision of my legs. I think I should be given an applause break for that. In this weather, you kidding me? I'm taking one for the team. You don't need to see my legs. That's not going to help you. That's not going to help you. I was going to do an open mic tonight, but they canceled it. So I'm feeling very open micus interruptus, you know what I mean? It's part of why I'm recording this podcast right now. I was all amped up. I had that open mic energy. And now I'm putting that into this podcast. I'm so bummed because maybe I'm not bummed. The podcast I did that didn't work, I actually took notes. I had prepared comments. I felt like I had really done my homework. And that's what the universe is saying. Maybe that's not the direction you need to take this podcast, Josh. Maybe it needs to be more about not having any idea what's going to happen and going from there. Working from a place of absolute nothingness, man, and letting the impulses just come to you, and then just like flowing, man, just letting it flow. So the next thing that comes out of your mouth, that's the real gold, man. The real gold is what you can't see, but what just comes through you. You're just a conduit, man. You're not even real. You're a conduit to a universal energy. I think that's what John Williams said. Yeah, what did John Williams say? That creativity, like there's a giant pool of creativity and we're all connected to it. I just feel like he's really connected to it. Like he's mainlining that. And then the rest of us, a trickle. Like he's downstream of that creativity. And we are all, drinking bits of it in bottled water that we have to go to the store to buy. If I may continue the metaphor. Weird sensation that I'm feeling. Always lonely. But tonight, part of me is okay with it. Maybe that is to say, I think the loneliness comes from hoping that someone or something is going to come along to give me the answers. And the realization that maybe I already have the answers, or that the answers are not without but within. Isn't that what Optimus Primal learned in the first episode of Beast Machines? I'm fairly certain that's what he learned. So I keep thinking, the answer is this, or the answer is that, and the answer is probably something to do with stillness and enlightenment. One of those things. That would be my guess. I don't want to say that I'm perfectly content being alone. I'm not. But there are advantages. It's a complex thing. There's pluses and minuses. I want to be able to go to an open mic whenever I want to and not have to worry about not spending enough time with someone. That's where I'm at right now. But I think I do need to take more risks. I feel like I'm not taking enough professional risks. What would a professional risk be? Well, not giving up. Not to say that I have given up, but continuing. Putting up this podcast, whether or not I think it's fundamentally brilliant. You know what? I'm glad the other podcast didn't work, because I was writing jokes about movie news. And maybe that's me trying to find a thing. And maybe that's not what my thing is. I mean, people seem to like it the best when I'm vulnerable. So maybe I need to be vulnerable. Maybe that's more interesting. But what am I just going to whine and complain about my loneliness every week? And people are going to tune into that? Doesn't there have to be more? I don't want to deal with guests. I want all the attention, A. And B, I don't want to frantically try to find a guest. I see other people who have podcasts where there's always a guest, and they're scrambling to get guests. And I want to be able to do it on my own. I want to be able to prove that it was all me that did it. So here we are. I've got to offer something, though. I don't feel like I'm necessarily offering anything with this podcast. I'm talking about how I feel for a certain length of time. Is that enough? I mean, I've tried, improvising stories. But every time I do that, the first thing I feel is a tremendous amount of fear, because I'm totally improvising a story, and then I do it, and I just come away with it feeling like, it's silly, but it's not as funny to me as what I see in real life. So maybe what I need to do, maybe this time, instead of talking about a sci-fi story, maybe I should tell a real life story. How about that? I talked about astronomy. My dad bought a telescope that we looked through, and it was the kind of telescope where if I looked at a star with the naked eye and then I looked through the telescope, I would see a slightly brighter version of what I could see with the naked eye. My dad had a friend named Lenny. He had an even bigger telescope. It was a huge telescope. And what I was obsessed with, my mom tells me I'm an Aquarius, and the planet that is connected with is Uranus. Please try to avoid the jokes. We get it. Yes, I know what the word sounds like. So I was I wanted to be able to see Uranus through one of these telescopes. And even Lenny's telescope, I think he told me, it just basically looks like a bright star when you look at it through this telescope. And then I gradually lost interest in really looking hard at Uranus. Maybe what I need to do is find the Uranus within. So, I've always been fascinated with the night sky. But the reality is, if we develop the ability to be able to travel to these places, why do I get the feeling it would just be more aggravation that we would find? Finally find intelligent life. We go to their planet. And it's just red tape is all we find. They're like, have you filled out the forms? You need to fill out the forms before we can let you in. We didn't know. We've never encountered your species before. Well, it doesn't matter. And actually, there is a form for that. The new species form. Here you go. You need to fill this out. You need to fill it out exactly. We're very tidy with our paperwork on this planet. Incredibly tidy. Make sure you... Oh, and when you put it in an envelope, get one of the envelopes with the window. We prefer those. Kind of fill me in on how exactly we get this document to you. You don't have a transporter? No, all right, you have to put it in a rocket ship and fly it down. And by the way, if something happens to the rocket ship, you can't fill out the form again. You get one shot at this. You know what? We're not gonna visit your planet. We're done. We're fine. I think we were better off thinking we were the only ones. I really think that's where I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to meet an alien race, and it's just going to lead to some level of aggravation. Well, there you go. That started as a real story, and then it kind of morphed into a little bit of a sketch. And then I stopped it instead of dragging it on for a ridiculous length. I like that. I feel like a lot of male comedians lately that I'm seeing are talking about how much they hate astrology. And I don't know where this suddenly became a hot button issue. I don't mind astrology. My mom was into it, so I picked up some things from her. I think it's fun. I like listening to my mom's theories. Are they right? Who knows? What does she say about the Aquarius? I'm an Aquarius. I think she says we worry ourselves to death, which is on point. I was obsessed with the constellations. Trying to see Aquarius. You know what? I'm trying to look for Uranus. I'm trying to look for Aquarius. I'm spending my whole childhood looking for myself. There's a discovery. Have I found myself yet? Maybe that's what we're all trying to do when we're talking about blasting off into space. We're trying to find ourselves. Somewhere along the line, we lost ourselves. And we're thinking maybe we can find ourselves on Mars. And then we get to Mars and we go, this is boring. We need, what we should do, going to Mars. Send the Starbucks out there first. Send the Orange Julius. Send the Dave and Busters. Give us something to look forward to. I mean, listen, Starbucks are everywhere. I feel like they'd get to Mars faster than anyone else. They seem to have it together. Or Amazon. I mean, Bezos is going into space already. Put Amazon out there. Put an Amazon warehouse, because the first thing I'm going to do when I get to Mars is order something online. I mean, that is ultimately what's going to happen when we colonize Mars. That is the end goal, isn't it? However many years from now, when we've colonized Mars and it's easier to live there, you're going to be standing there on the Martian landscape going, oh, they're opening another Starbucks? Oh, my goodness. How many Starbucks do we need on Mars? Well, I can't be mad at Starbucks. I mean, they're the ones who colonized, so. They briefly, when they owned everything, they did call it Mars Bucks. But fortunately, we fought our independence from Starbucks and created the free Mars. Boy, this is leading me right to Babylon 5. That was one of the plots of Babylon 5. Not the Starbucks part. 21 minutes. That's good enough, I think. I don't want to overstay my welcome. We did enough here.